At the time of the beginning of the graduation ceremony was declared closed, the entire administration was grateful to all the parents who took part in it. Won Jing was standing at the door waiting for someone. Then Woo Enju came up to him. She is a cheerful and sociable girl who has been the president of the high school for 3 years in a row. Also, she was the girl Won Jing was secretly in love with. Now that the ceremony is over, he got older. It was so exciting. It's a pity that he didn't get a recommendation to the university. So now, their paths with Enju will no longer cross. Enju asked him for a favor this morning. She offered him a part-time job. He thought maybe this was a chance to get close to her. Suddenly Enju got a call from his older sister. During the conversation, an acquaintance approached Won Jin and asked him if he wanted to go to karaoke. But he replied that he was busy today. He said that Enju asked him to work with her. But this guy didn't believe him and thought he was lying. Enju finished talking on the phone and they hit the road. That guy was at school. But they had already boarded the bus and went to the place of work. When he arrived there, he noticed just a huge building, which had 9 rooms on each floor. Enju's house is a boarding house for women. What kind of work should a guy do in such a place? Most likely taking out the garbage and cleaning the house. Or maybe catch cockroaches. Well, she probably chose me because I have free time. Won Jing thought to himself. The owner of this boarding house is the elder sister of Enju. When he found out, her sister had already gone down to them and met Won Jin. Won Jin noticed that unlike Enju, her sister is cold. Her sister sent Enju to her room. When Enju answered her, she yelled at her to speak louder. Enju told Won Jing, "I'm sorry. My older sister can be very scary at times." She said this to him and went to her room. Elder sister Enju told Won Jin to follow her to the office, which was on the 2nd floor. Woo Enju, she told me about my duties. They were as follows. I quote her words. "From now on for 1 year, you will help Enju with the work of the manager. I pay 50,000 won. Give me room and food." Won Jing thought about it and started talking to himself. What is she saying? I thought it was for 1 day, but for a whole year. And the manager is overkill. It turns out that I should stay here. Yeah, stop. Room, plus they will feed. Which means that I do not need to rent a room myself. And most importantly, can I see Enju every day? Thinking about this, he immediately agreed to Enju's proposal. Then Ensu asked him to sign on paper, after which she decided to give him an entrance exam to see if he was even suitable for this work. He thought, requirements for the manager, maybe diligence. No, maybe I'll be the parking attendant. Driving test. And then his eyes fell on the strange books that Ensu had thrown at him. She told him to use them to wind up a toy. He asked, embarrassed, who in their right mind would include such a thing in a qualification test? But she answered him, I told you it was just a test. I should at least know that you are not a eunuch. He noticed that she blushed. She was shy. Maybe her expression did not change, but her ears were red. Ensu said, didn't Enju tell everything in detail? When did you come here? You already signed the contract, so you can talk. But Enju told him that it was just a part-time job, he didn't know anything. And suddenly Enju's voice came out, which said, sorry, I agreed. My parents and older sister. I promised them that when I am an adult, I will become the manager of this boarding house. There's nothing good about inheriting a place filled with weird girls. So why should I? Now that I have found a replacement, everything should be fine, right? Saying this, she left in the taxi she was sitting in. Youngsu got very angry when she heard this. And then someone at the door said something. Youngsu asked to get out. Gina looked at the boarding house manager's log. In this log there was a collection, evidence, collected every time the tenants caused problems. Youngsu began to say, because of these cases, the boarding house's reputation is at the bottom. Here look, those are your main responsibilities, taking care of them. Girls living in a boarding house. Saying this, she opened the door, behind which there were several girls. They fell on him and said that from this day on, they were all at his disposal. The girls began to speak. The red-haired one said first, my god, so this is our new manager. He's cute. The next speaker was the blue-haired one. She said, I've been living here for 2 years. I'll be glad to work with you. After a few seconds, Won Jin felt horrified, and the blue-haired woman said, he doesn't even know what to say. He must be scared. Youngsu wasn't going to put up with it, so she kicked them out of the office. Youngsu thought to herself, oh my god, this will drive me crazy. Enju, this girl, she hated this house since childhood. I should have known. Youngsu told Wonjin to go after her, but it was problematic for him now. But it was part of his job, so he had to get his mind in order. Young-soo asked him, do you know the techniques Feng Shui? He replied that he knew. Feng Shui techniques have been used for decades to correctly determine the area suitable for construction, the basis of which is mountains in the back, water in front. The surrounding mountains will block the cold winter wind that blows from the northwest, and the waters that flow ahead will provide drinking water and help with the development of industry. In the West, even a separate science studying Feng Shui has appeared. The statue is free in New York, proof that a huge rock in front of a residential area blocks the flow of wind and thus reduces the damage from strong sea breeze. Pentagon. Its structure relies on the energy of the earth through the use of mountain fortress technology. It is used around the world. Also, this guest house, it was built on the basis of Feng Shui. It is surrounded on all sides by mountains and a river flows in front. Such a lovely place. Horace guest house is ideally located. This land was vacant for a long time until my great-grandfather bought it. Then this house was built. However, there is a reason why this land was not purchased a long time ago. But I won't tell you everything until you promise me to stay here for 1 year. Ensu told him. Won Jin thought to himself, I can prepare for my project within 1 year. In preparation, I will need a library or something. I will need money. I have to take care of myself. He said he was willing to work there. Ensu, opening the door, which was forbidden to enter, said, you are going to see what is there. But know that you must be silent like a grave. This secret was passed down from generation to generation, only to the owners of the building. As the door opened, the wind blew in their direction. He did not immediately understand what it was, but Young-soo continued to say, this is the only minus of the yin energy hole. Yin energy seeps through this hole and affects the people living here. Ensu pushed the genie out the door and said, now you understand that by approaching the hole, people cannot suppress their animal instincts. She told him that they would meet in 10 minutes at the office, during which time he had to deal with these instincts. 10 minutes later they met and she proceeded to explain the rest of his duties to him. She said, the strength of the hole changes from time to time. We regularly change rooms for tenants to alleviate the symptoms. Basically, you will do the most ordinary job of the manager, housekeeping, cleaning, but in case of emergency, you have to deal with the problem. How do you already seen in the magazine? There will be problems associated with strangers. Began his life as a manager. It wasn't very difficult. During the day he had to clean the house and check the numbers of the tenants. At night he studied. Then, a week later, passing by a room that was not to be entered, Won Jin was approached by Yesasi. That was the name of the red-haired office worker who lived in room 101. She asked him for help and said that she had no hot water since the morning. Upon entering the room, he thought to himself, wow, as expected. Yesasi's room is impressive, very clean and tidy. Won Jin thought a request was strange because there was hot water in his room. Then Yesasi said, I'm sorry, I agreed. She locked the door and pushed him onto the bed. Then he noticed that the yin hole had opened up. Yesit insisted that they make love, but Won Jin noticed during this that Yensu Nuna saw him. Besides, she, most likely, is closely acquainted with all the guests. Her ears then turned red, but it seems that this did not stop Jin. So he nevertheless began to make love to her. Ensu stood outside the door and heard this. She was very embarrassed by what she heard. So she moved away from the door and went about her business. After a while they finished and were about to take a shower, but suddenly Yensu entered their room, which stopped them from reoccupation. When she went there, Yesasi immediately lay down in bed and hid. Yingsu said, Won Jin, go to the bathroom. I'll clean up here. He felt strange and thought to himself, but why exactly would she clean here? It feels like nothing strange happened for her. The expression on his face did not change at all. Young-soo was in the bathroom and said, do you think I'm used to it? In case of a yin hole, it's better to clean the entire floor as carefully as possible. Don't mind me, I have to deal with it anyway. Won Jin answered, that's right. You said no one should know about holes, right? I guess you couldn't help. No, you couldn't even ask her for help. Ensu answered him, yes, I hid it from her, but even removing all traces, I could not hide the noise. For her age, this is an extra stress, and she probably wondered more than once what was wrong with the girls living here. You can't imagine how much she hated this place even if she decided to use you to deceive me and run away. They were talking when suddenly the shower broke. The shower was too hot, so the Jin flew out of it. He slipped and fell right on top of the manager. It seems that a girl with pigtails heard it. She did not know what was there, but she understood whose voices they were. She decided to go and help them. Von John washed things. He believed that the hardest work was washing. besides his own things. You also need to wash the things of the tenants, sheets and curtains. Many rooms, many laundry. Despite being a manager, his main occupation was repetition. He had to go to university. Ensu came to help Won Jin with his studies, so she handed him a notebook with notes and sat next to him. Yinsu Nuna returned from cleaning the last room from the effects of the yin hole. It obviously did not go without consequences for her. So Won Jin thought, noticing her reddened ears. But he believed that in any case, now busy with other things. So I wanted to ask him something. But his thoughts went to the wrong place. Suddenly reading what Ensu brought him, he realized that she was from the best university. He thought to himself, with a sister like that, it's no surprise that Yeonsu did so well in school. All of a sudden, Yeonsu received a message from Dawson. It's the same girl with blue hair. She sent Yeonsu a photo from the last seconds of him hanging up the laundry. That's all. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and watch other videos. And if you want to continue this manhwa, then write about it in the comments. See you soon.